There needs to be. I'm surprised this hasn't happened. There needs to be like a an ASMR channel for anime openings, but it's like really dumb mumbling of the intro. They just get into the microphone and like, "This is Dragon Ball Super." This I am machine. Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of the Anime Hour. I am joined here with ya boy who is Sugoi, Lou from Lou Talks Anime.
God damn it, Dakota, that was a good one.
I know!
You're done good.
I get to do the intro today.
And with us today is my dear friend. She's so special. Everybody say hi to HappiLeeErin.
Hi. Thank you for having me.
It's our pleasure.
The Happily Hour, Anime Hour.
Happily Hour.
Happily Hour.
I was, you know how Dodger's been talking about that Hello Talk app on Twitter a lot? Which is like an app where you connect with people from whatever language you want to learn.
Yeah.
Really
And
interesting.
and it's really cool. It's like a message board thing. And I went in there and I was like, oh, I'm gonna change my username to HappiLeeErin, but I'm very sleep deprived from having a newborn, and I didn't like check it before I hit enter, and you can only change it once. So the N was an M, so it was HappiLeeErin. I was like, I'm just gonna delete my profile and start.
Delete!
That's fair.
That's
fair.
great. That's wonderful.
Thank you for having me.
It's, like I said, it's our pleasure. So, Erin, I think in this community, you're known for a few things, but probably more than anything, I think most people know you as like the biggest advocate for sports anime.
Yeah, which I wear as a badge of honor.
So if you could please like share what it is about sports and anime as a genre that you like. And then afterwards we'll start talking about specific shows.
Okay. Yeah. There's just the feeling of watching like an underdog story that I've just always adored. And sports anime is like the embodiment of that. And not only do you get the action of watching the sport and the high intensity of each match, depending on like what kind of show you're watching. So like Ace of Diamond, you have the baseball game. Kuroko, you have basketball. Slam Dunk, you have basketball. And there's just really impressive writing and being able to tell an exciting story through a match of a sport that you viewer may not necessarily be interested in. But it's also just heavily character driven, and stories with heavy character and character relationships, those are some of my favorite. And so I think there's just something like very, I'm trying to think. I keep thinking of the word romantic, but not in the sense of like shipping the characters, but in like the old fashioned sense.
I mean, let's be honest though, like there's a lot of
but then there's
shipping.
there's tons of character shipping, which I love, because not only do you get like two main characters or something, you have a huge cast, because all of these games, like sports that they play, are team sports for the most part. And so you get tons of characters, and that gives the writers an opportunity to have all sorts of different personalities and abilities and strengths and stuff. And so I think it's just very dynamic. The characters, having it character driven, I love that about it. And there's just something really great about seeing this team that you're cheering on succeed and fail, like both things. So I just love that. There's so much that I just adore about different sports anime. And I don't know, so many, like I don't do sports. The only sport I've done is like running and swimming, like cross country and swimming. And so when Free came out, I was like, oh yeah, this is my shit. Though, I mean, Free is much more about the relationships than it is the sport, especially after the first season. But I've never played basketball. I've never played baseball. And the two of my favorite anime series of all time have to do with basketball and baseball. And so it's really cool that they're able to draw in viewers who may not be interested in the sport and make them interested in it. And so I think there's just a lot that goes into how strong the writing and storytelling have to be, as well as the characters. So,
because with sports anime, it always gets me. Anime has this weird thing of like, I guess, well, it's the weeb mentality of like wanting to Naruto run down the halls because they did it in anime. Because when I watch a sports anime, I'm like immediately invested. I'm like, yo, I want to try and play volleyball. Let's fucking do this. And I'm like, and it's same with basketball. When I used to work at my job in like a few years ago, we would have a days where we go to the gym afterwards. And then I started watching Kuroko, and I was kind of like, yo, let's all go to the gym where they have the basketball court. We got like basketball games every week, and just because I watched Kuroko and I wanted to play. I suck at basketball, by the way.
Oh my god, Dodger and I bought a basketball after we read Kuroko. We both went and bought basketballs. We're like, we're gonna make a team, and it never happened because we're two very short girls without basketball skills.
Yeah.
But yeah, it makes you want to do it. I don't know. It's just something about it that gets you excited for it. And like,
my favorite moment, I was like I watched Free the first season, and I'm like, all right, let's do it. I went out and I bought these little really tight, like professional swimmer shorts, and I was like, I'm gonna fucking
the jammers.
Yeah, I was like, I'm gonna fucking rock this shit. Not a very good swimmer. Just I learned that one too.
You're Ray.
I still have the shorts, and that's what matters.
You know what? That's very poetic, Dakota.
So, how about, all right, so you mentioned sports or team-based sports, but how about anime that have that aren't team-based? So stuff like Hajime no Ippo or Baby Steps. Like, I think a lot of people will focus on the team-based sports, and they don't really realize that you can get a lot of similar experiences out of the individual sports. So like, for example, Prince of Tennis is an individual-based sport, or has an individual-based sport, and still is able to convey that level of hype and intensity. And I think where those while those relationships aren't on the actual field, there are other people that are invested in the sport whose journey you also get to enjoy. Mm-hmm. So yeah. I think that's definitely the case where like it's just having a group of people that are passionate about a thing and watching how they grow and develop in that venue.
Yeah, I agree. And like another one, as you're talking, Ping Pong the Animation is also like one of the top tier sports anime. And I think it kind of flew under the radar with a lot of people who are into sports anime. I think they got like turned off by the animation style, but it has the same intensity and character relationships, even though ping pong is very much an individual sport. And also it's ping pong. So a lot of people are like, why would I want to watch a show about ping pong? But they still bring that intensity to the matches because of how character driven it is, because you get invested in the characters. And so since you're invested in that, you're invested in how they fail or how they succeed and what their relationship is like with the other characters that you're seeing. So I think individual sports, yeah, I agree, Lou, that they bring that same exact feeling too. And like you said, Hajime no Ippo does that wonderfully. And it's the character development. It's interesting because it happens like both on and off like the court or the field or whatever. And so it's very much tied into the sport and what they're doing. And I think that's really important to acknowledge too.
I feel like Haiku does that the best with like, you two need to figure out how to actually function as human beings that are on the same team before we could even get on the court.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, it's literally the first, like, what, 5 episodes? It's literally just, you two, can you learn to get along, please? Polar opposites.
I love that shit. I love enemies to friends. It's one of my favorite.
42 Believers, Sarah, who got me into Haiku, because I've been watching it. I haven't watched it in years. It was sitting on a shelf, and then she literally sat down and was like, yo, we're fucking watching the first 12 episodes. You can't stop me. And I'm like, okay. And I loved it.
Gosh, it's so good. And it just keeps getting better.
Well, yeah, I'll agree that it keeps getting better. I didn't really care for the first season of Haikyuu. It really took like towards the latter half of the second season to really grab me. And the third season is just probably my favorite singular arc in sports anime.
So good.
It's extremely well put together.
Yeah.
Can I tell you my favorite?
Sure.
My favorite sports anime is Bamboo Blade.
That's a good one.
That's my favorite one.
And
I have to have one to top it.
A lot of people tend to like forget that a lot of those martial arts based anime are sports anime. So like Hinamaru Zumo, which I haven't seen the anime. I've read the manga from MangaPod.
Yeah.
But
oh, it's so good. I forgot about that one. Oh my gosh, that one's so good.
I need to actually give the anime a shot. I think Brooke said it was pretty good.
Yeah. I watched the first few episodes and it was great. It brought the same feel.
All right, that's cool.
Now
I'm excited.
Yeah, going back to like Haikyuu, we read the manga for MangaPod, and I was not into it. Just because the way the manga presents all the information, it was very information dumpy, and it wasn't really clear either what was going on and stuff. And so the anime does it really well, like laying out the sport, and because you kind of have to understand and enjoy the like sport itself too, like how they describe it sometimes. And so Haikyuu does it really well, where you just kind of get thrown into it and visualize it just as well, because there's so much information that goes into like volleyball too, like having to know what all is legal and what the positions are and all of that, and Haikyuu does that really well for explaining it.
What I like is how Haikyuu handled that. There are some shows that don't handle that explanation well. So like Baby Steps, for example, is a show that several times throughout the series they explain the basics of tennis, like from a very like fundamental, like, okay, well, that's a forehand and that's a backhand. And it's kind of like insulting that they treat the audience as if they're going to forget constantly, the mechanics of the sport. Like, I would understand transitioning from one season to one next, and where you have like that trope of there's a person on the sidelines that doesn't understand the sport and someone is explaining it to them.
Yeah.
I get that, but that being like the focal point for everything and like regurgitating the same points over and over again, it's kind of like, I feel like I'm being talked down to, and I'm not a fan of that.
Yeah, and like, I agree with that, because it gets so repetitive that it makes you not as immersed in it, because you're just like, all right, this again, cool. And Kuroko does it pretty good in that everybody involved really like understands the sport, but they don't repeat it constantly. Like, they'll bring it up and stuff, but it's as new techniques are kind of introduced where you get the idea of like, this is how that technique is being pulled off.
The one thing about Kuroko that I did notice is that every time they do an alley-oop, it's like it's never been done before.
Yeah.
It's
oh man,
everybody's
Kuroko
so fucking surprised.
I mean, but to be honest, these alley-oops are hype as fuck. So
yes.
They do it really good.
Oh my god. Just like Kuroko gets crazy. Like, it becomes like just constantly needing to one up each move, but it gets it's just still so hype each time they pull something off, or like they win or just do something. There's so hype.
I watch it only when I'm on the treadmill at the gym, because it's weird how I only watch sports anime, like a lot of sports anime when I'm at the gym.
No, I get that.
So perfect, because I'll put on the treadmill and I'm like, cool, 20 minutes, easy. So I'm at the moment right now where, because it's going to be longer to get through it, where, what do they do? They're refighting the guy with red hair. Or is it red hair? No, blue hair.
Almine?
And yeah, they're rematching him, and it's Kuroko's releasing his new phase go through, whatnot. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's just
oh my god, that's one of my favorite. I have like definitely list like top 5 favorite matches in Kuroko, and that's one of the best ones because it's like
win?
you're already. I'm not gonna tell you because you're already so invested in Almine as a character.
The halftime and they just dropped the alley oop. I need to know.
I need to know, dude.
Get the fuck on the treadmill,
you're gonna
Dakota.
you're gonna get hype. You're gonna forget that you're on the treadmill and you were only going for 20 minutes. Like you're gonna spend an hour watching.
It's nice too because it's a lot of character like evolutions, whatnot. Because with Taiga, he's like it's his first time realizing he's up against somebody he can't win, so he just decides to pass the ball instead of like going head forth. And I'm like, look at you grow up, boy. Look at you.
And this kind of plays into where like the story, it kind of builds towards the main strength of the team, which you'll get a better view of later. Like I'm trying to phrase this in a way where like I'm conveying that idea, and I think Erin knows exactly what I'm getting at. Without like really spoiling it. But yeah, like this is the foundation for what really strengthens their team.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's that teamwork. And the thing is, there are other teams in the show that excel at teamwork. But it's how they're able to connect and build each other up that really makes Kuroko's team stand out.
Blonde hair kid's a bitch.
How dare you?
I never loved somebody, then hated somebody, and then loved them again, and then hated them again throughout a whole entire series.
Are you talking about Kisei?
Yeah, the pretty boy.
Oh my gosh, he's like, gosh, I don't want to spoil anything, but he's one of the most, I think, tragic stories in Kuroko.
I like Kisei a lot. Like he's the character with the most potential.
Yeah.
And
I just love it because he was like, yo, your street logic, I'll just copy it.
Yeah.
And then Yume's like, what? And he was like, nah, I'm just going to do you.
I'm just going to. That's right, he is.
So, Erin, I haven't seen the sequel film. Have you?
New Game? Is that what it's called?
The NBA one?
I have feelings about that movie.
Can you tell me about it? Because like I've been wanting to watch it, and I've been meaning to ask you about it.
It's not the level of the series, at that same level, but the animation is really great. They definitely like take advantage of the fact that it's a movie and they have that budget for it. You don't really get invested in the other team at all. And that's something that, in Kuroko, they do a very good job of helping you, even if you don't agree with the other team or you're like, I want Saren to win, you still like the other team or are like invested in how they're going to play against Saren. And they're never outright evil either. Like, I mean, Hanamiya is a dick, definitely, like, not, but he's very dynamic and fascinating in how he's, like, the antagonist, whereas the antagonists for the movie are just straight up, like, dick, like, asshole villain, like, kind of villainy, like, cartoony in a way. And so I think it's worth a watch if you really liked, like if you're into Kuroko and you've watched all of Kuroko, it's definitely worth a watch and will get you a Kuroko fix. There was also something that they did, because it's based off of a manga by the creator. So like the creator did a sequel manga. Don't even get me started on like how Kuroko ended. So, but he did a sequel manga, which is New Game, and then the movie is based off of that. But they, for some reason, took some liberties with Kagami that they don't in the manga, but they just literally changed it for him. And I don't know if it was to add, like, extra drama or extra feels, but it was so stupid and just kind of goes against everything that's happened with his arc in the manga.
Does it make it better?
No, I don't think so.
Because you're saying, like, it seemed like you were not a fan of the manga, so I'm like, all right, maybe these changes are for the better.
No, I wasn't the biggest fan of the manga, and I don't know if it's because I was bummed that Kuroko ended how it did, and, like, Kuroko ended in a okay way. Like, it wasn't bad, but it was very sudden. Like, he announced that it was ending, like, the chapter or two before it ended. And that really bummed me out because there is a ton of potential there to have like more story and things like that. And like
Was there a reason why?
they
Or was it just
never,
because
not that I ever saw.
I know it's Shonen Jump,
Yeah.
and Shonen has a reputation of going, hey, that's cool and all, but wrap it up in about 3 chapters.
Yo, the sign is real simple, B. It says wrap it up. Wrap that shit up, B.
Maybe that's what it is, but it was
That's
at
what they
the
did with
height.
Bleach.
It was at like the height of Kuroko's popularity.
Really?
And so I don't know. Yeah, like I'm not sure if he just thought he didn't have any more story to tell or if he wanted to move on to something new.
Well, I mean, clearly he did have more story to tell because there was a sequel manga. So with the Kuroko manga ending, how does that differ from how the anime handled it? Because the anime, I didn't have any issue with its ending. Like it flowed perfectly with the story. And yeah, you know, there was like no time to decompress after how it ended. But, you know, like the build up to that last game and how it was carried out, I thought it was handled pretty okay.
Yeah, no, I thought it was good, especially for ending in a rush, like how it did. But I really enjoyed it, and the manga is pretty one for one. They changed just a few minor things in the Teiko arc, so I don't know if like the anime was trying to rush too, but I thought it was decent for an ending. Like I liked it. I just think as a huge fan of the manga, I just thought there was some other story that he could have told, like Street Basketball. But then he did the sequel, and it just didn't seem like it had the life in it that Kuroko did. And so it was Street Ball, which is what I wanted to see, but it didn't have the emotion and everything that the rest of the series had, so I was kind of bummed out by it and wasn't the biggest fan of it.
Did it have any tournaments? Because I feel like tournament arcs are like the focal point of sports anime.
No, it didn't. It wasn't a long series. And so it has like one match, and then it has the Generation of Miracles training real quick, and then it has the final match. So there was no tournament arc. There was no real development of anything at all. So, yeah, so it just kind of bummed me out. I don't know what happened with it, but I think the ending is like suitable for Kuroko and like what they were able to do. But yeah, the sequel movie and sequel manga were not my favorite thing, sadly.
So Erin, you mentioned that Kuroko manages to make you care about the antagonist and kind of like root for them. I would argue that a sports anime that did that significantly better was Ace of Diamond.
Oh yeah,
Ace
I would agree
of
with that.
Diamond just has they tell a very compelling story because while the main team isn't necessarily an underdog, they do have an uphill fight. So it makes all of their games feel competitive. And even with the lesser teams, like they end up with some really compelling stories, and the dynamics of the characters on that team, I don't know, it makes me kind of wish like, all right, for all of these teams, I want them to have their own sequel spinoff so I can follow all of their stories, please.
Yeah, and like the one, like a very early tournament arc, not the first one, I think it's the second. I think it is. They have like all these other schools where the main team isn't even playing, and it's also like you've never heard about these schools before. And they're literally only in there for like one small little match. But I remember crying at numerous ones of those because they get you so emotionally invested in them that it doesn't even matter that they're not like the main characters. You just love reading about their story and seeing what is happening with it. And I agree that Ace of Diamond does it really well. And something that's special about Ace of Diamond and the main team is that they like fell from glory. And so that you know that they used to be like on top. They were this strong team. And so they're a very interesting underdog story where they're trying to get back to where they were before, because it's like a baseball school. That's what they're known for. And so now they're trying to go from underdog to top again, which I
mean,
think was
didn't
really
that
interesting.
didn't that happen with Haikyuu as well?
Yeah.
Where Karasuno under the Little Giant was a championship caliber team.
You're right. Yeah. Which I love
But-
that kind of thing where it's like they've already tasted the victory and that's what their fans and the audience expects from them. And so they're trying extra hard to like work up to that too.
I mean, to play off of what you were saying though, in Ace of Diamond, I feel like that arc is more pronounced. I feel like that is a thing in Haikyuu, but it's like not the focal point. Like it doesn't seem like they're trying to draw a lot of attention to the history of Karasuno.
Yeah, I'd agree. And like Ace of Diamond does injuries very well too, where they're like physically painful for the audience to watch happen too.
Yes.
And it's so like, because nobody's really dying in a sports anime, there are certain ones that will do that. Crap, what's the one by the slam dunk?
Real?
Real. Like, Real is a very special in its own right. And so, but like, for sports manga and sports anime, injury is like the death of something, of a character, kind of, because it's ending their career. And Ace of Diamond does that really interesting with all sorts of different characters. I love Ace of Diamond. I love it so much. Miyuki is just one of the most like best written characters of
Yuki's an asshole.
Yeah.
But also
he's
great.
So great.
Yeah.
I love him. I love troll characters like Lou once called me out on. He's like, you just love the little troll shits. I'm like, you're right. That is my type.
Like Isaiah from Da-Da-Da-Da.
Yes.
Would be another one.
Oh my gosh, he's so great. I love that chaotic neutral character. I think is what he would be.
Did you end up watching the heavy hitter of sports last year, which was Megalobox?
I watched the first few episodes and I really liked it. I liked that. The concept
I did too.
of it.
I stopped watching it after halfway, but I need to pick it back up. I don't know.
Lou, you really liked that one, right?
Yeah, it's really good. It has that retro feel, which I enjoy because my first anime ever was a sports anime. So it's
really?
like it was Captain Tsubasa.
Aw.
So Captain Tsubasa, for those that may be unfamiliar, is a soccer anime, and like my introduction to anime was in going overseas to visit family, and for over there, like the cartoons that you would watch were anime that were dubbed into Spanish, and it just so happened that when I was like 4, one of my cousins was watching Captain Tsubasa, and I was like, holy shit, this is cool. And then like it turned out that some of the Spanish language stations over here would run those same dubbed episodes, so I would continue watching it over here, and it was really cool. But yeah, like Megalobox told a very interesting story. I haven't seen Ashita no Joe, but like I could see where it was paying tribute to it in places. Like I'm familiar with a lot of the things that get referenced to Ashita no Joe, like the cross counter that you see referenced in everything. Mm-hmm. But I don't know. Like I really like specifically the music. I really liked. I wasn't thrilled with the animation, and I think that the fights could have been done a little bit better. But you're comparing. I'm being put in a position where I have to compare it to other boxing anime, and that comparison is going to immediately go to Hajime no Ippo. Mm-hmm. And like in terms of how hyped the fights are, it's not even close. Ippo is amazing.
Yeah, Ippo's top tier for sure. We had there's been a few sports anime that have come out recently too. Like Megalobox was last year, and then Run with the Wind came out this year, and Kyoto Animations one, archery one came out too.
I haven't seen either of those. I haven't seen Run with the Wind or the archery one. And then there's that Horse Girls one that PA Works did, which I haven't seen.
Oh yeah,
about the,
top tier.
Other great sports anime, Beyblade.
Oh,
Does
yeah.
Beyblade count?
I think so.
I mean,
Beyblade.
it's presented like
Chifuru. What is that one?
Chihayafuru.
Chihaya.
Chihayafuru, you're right. Would that count?
Yeah, that one's under sports.
Are we talking like our own definition or like Mal definition?
Mal definition.
Mal definition? All right, I'm going to have to
Hikaru
pull
no
up
Go,
Mal.
I think, is considered anime.
I mean,
They consider Suritama.
Yeah, I know. I always think, but I'm like,
how?
Suritama.
It has fishing.
The
but,
sport
that's
of
not,
fish.
That's not even the focal point of the series.
No, it's about like anxiety and stuff.
Grand
I
Blue
love Suritama.
is a sports anime about diving.
Yeah, the most
Sure,
serious
sure.
of sports. Have you guys
beer
ever
pong,
seen
beer pong
Furry?
is an beer pong should be an Olympic sport.
Yes,
I'm just saying.
I agree.
It's true.
Have you guys ever seen Ooh Furry?
I have
It's
not.
a baseball. It's
I have
older.
not.
I'm not sure when it is. But
What about oh, go ahead.
no, you can go. I'm done.
No, you go.
No, I'm done.
Good. You're done. I'm done before I even started.
How about Cross Game? Cross Game. I like. All right. There's some really good baseball anime out there, and Cross Game is probably my favorite.
2009.
It
It's
is-
retro.
Well, I mean, we weren't. I guess we'll do retro recommendations.
No,
Fuck it,
I'm
we're
just
doing
saying
retro
in general.
recommendations.
There
I'm
you
just saying in general.
But Cross Game is an excellent series. Like the art style, honestly, I didn't really care for. And it took about 9 to 10 episodes, and they started like prepping for games, and shit got really intense. And I'm like, all right, this is what I'm here for. And there's a slice of life component to it that I think not a lot of sports anime have. Like I think a lot of sports anime like are heavily reliant on comedy when they're not in the intensity of the sport. And
I think that's why I like Bamboo Blade so much.
I mean, Bamboo Blade is like 100% comedy, and it's extremely well done comedy. I want there to be more.
There needs to be more.
I told you to watch that, right? I
believe you're the one that gave me that recommendation.
You're welcome.
I watched it, and then like halfway through, I was like, I bought the DVD like halfway through watching it.
Mm-hmm. Oh shit, dude.
They're cute.
I'm looking at the sports anime on Mal.
Can you send me a link?
Yeah. There's a Yaopeta too, which I don't remember what season it was. But I kind of fell off after. Was it season 2? Was it New Generation? I'm not sure. But Yaopeta, Dakota, you and me both at the same time.
Tried to beat you to it.
Yaopeta kind of, I feel like I've heard it gets better again. But Yaopeta, the first season is really great. I loved that first series.
I didn't watch past, like, I didn't watch Grand Road, which was the film. And
okay.
Then there was the sequel. Like, I watched the main series, and that was it. And honestly, I feel like it could have been condensed because there's a lot of like superfluous content there that really didn't need to be there. I feel like there's some shows, with some sports anime, like this is totally the case, where it just gets made to be a lot longer than it needs to be. Mm-hmm. So, for example, all my favorite games in Kuroko are finished within 2 to 3 episodes.
Yep.
Like, I don't want anything that runs longer than that. Conversely, there are a few exceptions to that rule. Like, all of season 3 of Haikyuu is dedicated to one game.
Yeah.
So, but as a general, but that would be the exception that kind of proves the rule, where I want it to be a concise story that's told so we can move on, instead of like 25 episodes of them cycling the same race.
Yeah.
You want to know a sports anime that was a disappointment to me that I thought I was really going to enjoy?
What?
Princess Stride.
Oh my gosh, I was so bummed by Princess Stride.
I thought it was going to be so fucking good because it looked good and it was by Madhouse.
Yeah.
And I'm like, there's no fucking way this would go wrong. And it went wrong and I was just distraught. I was like, I think I was in awe. I was like, there's no way this is not this good.
Erin, have you seen Major?
Oh my gosh, that's on my list of sports to watch. I have not seen it.
Because it's super long.
Yeah.
And I'm looking through the top list on Mal, and it's all really highly rated. Like, it looks like all of it is rated as 8s and up.
People
So
who've
I'm, like,
seen Major
really
love
curious
it.
about it.
Yeah. Isn't it? Is that the one that's like very heavy mind games? I feel like it is.
Or maybe that's One Outs. There are a lot of, like, I don't know. There's so many baseball anime that I feel like that's its own genre.
Yeah. There are, like, well, it's because baseball is so big in Japan.
Mm-hmm.
And it's one, like, it's so big, and so people know the sport, like, in and outs of it really well. There was Cheer Danshi that came out a few years ago. The cheerleading anime.
I wonder if there's going to be a lot of sports anime next year. Because next year is when the Olympics are going to be in Japan.
You're right.
Oh my gosh, what if they did Teppu?
That would be really cool, but the ending for Teppu sucks.
Yeah, they need another. An anime or a manga that needs a sequel. Teppu is highly up there.
Olympics, the anime.
Oh my gosh, I hope so. I wonder if they're gonna have like anime, like sports anime themed stuff, like Yuri on Ice. I feel like when they do any, but is it the summer or winter? Summer, right?
Summer games.
Yeah, those will be fun to watch because Japan's not gonna hold back. They're gonna so hard commit.
Dakota, you want to know a sports anime that has an event that's in the Olympics?
Yes.
Suzuka.
Ha! Okay. I saw it on Mal, and I'm like, I'm not touching this. And then Lou was like, yo.
Just
I mean, because we've been talking about Fuka the past couple episodes, I figured we might as well at least throw in a Suzuka reference.
My favorite thing, a buddy of mine, Trekker, was reading Suzuka, and it ended, and he was like, man, that was really good. I need something to take my mind off of Suzuka now. And it was like, recommendation, if you like this, you might like Fuka. And he was like, cool, I'll just read Fuka. And then everything happened, and he was like, oh my God, I'm so emotional right now. And then he comes to find out that Fuka's Suzuka's kid. And it's actually a continuation of Suzuka, technically, or a spinoff. So he was heartbroken twice in the same day.
Oh, no.
Like, I just can't even imagine this. I never heard of this situation happening before where you're like, I'm just going to read Fuka that's recommended to me because I read Suzuka and not know that that was the next continuation.
I wonder, man, I read like a lot of sports manga, so I need to figure out. I'm trying to remember what one I've read recently I've been like.
Are there any that you want to see adapted into anime form that haven't been adapted yet? Like for me, before that would have been Hinamaru Zumo.
Yeah, that would have been my top one because we always do our March Madness month, and so let me.
I have one
really quick
from a manga that we've read on the show. Koko no Hito, aka The Climber. Like that's a manga that's about mountain climbing, and it's really fucking intense.
It's real good.
That sounds like it's due for an anime.
Like now that Vinland Saga is getting an adaptation, like that's probably towards the top of my list as manga that I would like to see get an anime adaptation.
Yeah. I would like to see if since Kuroko is so popular, though I don't know how Robot X Laser Beam is doing manga wise, but I think it'd be interesting to see a golf anime.
I mean, is it like Does it have like superpowers? Because like, come on, that's Kuroko. Let's be honest.
Oh yeah, and like the main character looks like Kuroko too, and it's because the guy. It was really funny. Like,
I'm trying to think of like bullshit anime logic that could be used in golf, where it's like, I fooled the crowd by accident. I hit it at like slightly less harder than I did before to throw my opponents off, and now I can hit the ball harder and get a birdie this time.
Well, the main character's power is that he's really like precise, and he's able to get like he picks up golf after
Which
not
is just
doing
good
it
at
all.
golf.
Yeah.
If you're really precise, that just means you're good at golf if you play golf. I don't know. It's weird. I love how anime does that, or manga, where it is like, I'm really precise, so I play golf. And it's like, that's just a good feature at golf.
Well, what was really funny about Robot X Laser Beam is Fujimaki, like very early on in Kuroko's popularity, they were like, if you could write any manga, like what would you do? And he's like, I'd like to do a golf one. And everyone's like, ah, ha, 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 that's so funny. And then after Kuroko ended, he was like, golf.
It's my time. It's my time.
It's my time.
You
But
all
it's
laughed.
like, I'm looking at the like sports manga section, and I'm like, most of the ones that I like have been adapted already. Like Ace of Diamond, Kuroko.
Golf is hard.
All of that, like they've already been. Tetsugaku Letra is considered a sport, which I would love to see Tetsugaku.
For the audience, that's a manga about dancing.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, it's one of my favorite manga. So I'd just love to see that get an adaptation in general. But I think like Teppu, I would like to see it get an anime and then the anime only ending, because I think it would be better than the manga.
I think Teppu is a type of manga that could get some traction, mainly because it's a martial arts based manga
With a girl lead too. That's the thing. There's so few female led sports manga as well. And I don't know if it's because sports anime do incredibly well with the girls, and so I don't know if it's like because of the shipping and stuff that's why it does really well.
with
But
the Fujoshi audience.
yeah,
is what you're saying?
Fujoshi are the ones who buy like the DVDs and the merchandise, and are basically the ones that keep a lot of sports anime popular, because they're more likely to buy all that merchandise. And so I don't know why. I just would love to see more female-led sports
How was
manga and anime.
Hanabado?
What?
The badminton one, I haven't seen it.
Because I watched Hanabado like the first few episodes, and I remember enjoying it, and then I remember it just dropping off the face of the planet, which I feel happens to a lot of seasons that start heavy and then just lackluster through the rest of the show.
Yeah. I thought you said
mean-
avocado, and I was like, what is that series?
Avocado is the a guac tier anime.
They
for sure.
figure out how to make guacamole.
Yeah.
They figure out how to use avocados before they go bad.
I mean, you were
It's
mentioning
a very quick turnaround.
You were mentioning mostly male led shows because of Fujoshi. There are some anime that are sports anime that have female leads. So like Dakota mentioned earlier, Bamboo Blade is one of them. That's more of an ensemble cast. There are a few guys in there, but the girls are the focal point. A couple other that come to mind are Taisho Baseball Girls
Yes.
and Princess Nine, which I haven't seen Princess Nine, but I've heard good things. I definitely really like Taisho Baseball Girls.
yeah.
It's very, like, I don't want to say it's a historical anime, but it tells a story that's set in a like the 1950s Japan, like that type of, like, it's in that era, and it's about girls kind of just like becoming, outside of their gender norms and playing their game. I think it's really interesting. Conversely, there's Want to Be the Strongest in the World, which is the pro wrestling one, which is
Oh,
just
yeah.
basically like not good at all. It's the worst fucking show.
There's Keijo.
Keijo.
Keijo is art. I don't want to hear anyone say otherwise.
So good. So
I
good.
fucking love Keijo.
Keijo's so great.
Mostly because of the references it makes to other animes. So like
Yeah.
for example,
Unlimited Blade Works.
well, yeah, that's unlimited booty works, man. That's what it is.
I'm going to judo throw this girl using my nipple, and that's my favorite way to explain
That
If
episode.
I had to pick any scene, I love explaining that one.
If there's one episode of Keijo that I would recommend as being standalone, like if you watch that episode by itself, it gives you everything you need out of Keijo and tells a complete story. I have no idea why I know that, but I do, and it's something that everyone
My
needs
favorite
to know.
plot point was the girl was like, "I can use my ass quicker if I give myself a wedgie."
Well, yeah, it's more aerodynamic, Dakota.
It's more
just science.
aerodynamic.
It's science, man.
It's like in swimming when you want to go faster, you just don't shave for a few weeks, and then you do shave, and suddenly you're way faster.
It's like Rock Lee taking off the weights, but with body hair.
Yes.
It's like, what happened? He got second place. He was like held down by a single stray hair. He missed shaving.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to see in Free.
Just
Damn it,
manscaping
Free.
the anime.
You dropped the ball.
Like they're
And
just so
shaving each
dedicated.
other.
They were so dedicated to manscaping. That's why none of them had nipples. They just shaved them off.
Oh my god. That reminds me of daily life of high school boys.
All right. I think it's time for us to go into our retro recommendations. So what we've set as a standard for a retro recommendation is for a show to be at least 10 years old. A lot of the time we get caught up in the seasonal grind and, it's all about staying current with what's airing. And the thing is, that's cool and all, but there's all this other anime that you can also be watching. So
Next year is gonna be fucking crazy when it hits 2020 and we have a whole new variety of shows from 2010 that we gotta come to terms with being old.
yeah. I'm really terrified about 2021 looking back on 2011 where we get
Oh
to
my
say shit
God.
like Fate
Like
Zero,
when we
Madoka
first
Magica.
like when we got into anime.
Yeah, basically. So anyways, does anyone want to go first?
I nominate Aaron.
I was gonna say I have mine.
Go ahead.
I talked about it a little bit earlier, like I mentioned it. Ufuri is the one that I recommend. It came out in 2007. I think it was 2007, 2008, something like that. So very on the tail end of 2 years ago. But it's another baseball one that's very character driven, but the matches are still great. Have you guys heard about it at all?
Nope.
Okay.
Not even close.
Ufuri is like the shortened name, but Big Wind Up is the English translation.
Oh, see, I've heard of that. Like I've heard of Big Wind Up. I've never
I never heard the
Japanese
weeb
title.
name.
Yeah,
Maybe,
but
I was gonna
I
say
haven't
maybe
seen
it's
show
the
either.
fandom. I'm into the fandom name. Maybe that's what happened.
I'm just an elite. Maybe
Ufuri.
you plebs can get up to my level on Big Wind Up.
Yeah.
Aaron's like, I'll speak in slow words for you.
Ooh, furry. But yeah, I love that one. It deals with anxiety pretty well, and it does the whole family, like found family trope that I adore. And a lot of people have issues with the main character because they find him kind of annoying because he's very meek and reserved. There's reasons for it because he was bullied a lot at the previous school. That's a big plot point is that he was bullied. And so he's very meek and withdrawn, and it's just kind of him growing into his confidence and learning who he is and building the battery with the catcher too. And so I really enjoy that series and find it very sweet while also hitting all of those sports tropes that I love so much. So that's my recommendation.
Wait, you actually just reminded me of something. This is not my retro recommendation. I haven't seen what I'm about to reference. But we've kind of like alluded to the idea that Fujoshi get invested in sports anime because of the subtextual relationships between the characters. There are a couple that have like overt relationships, like more like where the fandom doesn't have to read into the context, right? Like, isn't Battery? Like you said the word battery, and that reminded me of a show called Battery.
Yeah. Oh man, Battery is so like obvious, like that the main characters are like going towards that relationship. I haven't seen all of it, but the first few episodes are real heavily implied. Like the subtext is not really subtext. It's pretty like they lean on that catcher and pitcher trope kind of idea. I really liked the first few episodes that I watched. It's very pretty. I like how pretty it is, and the music in it is great too. I never got to seeing any actual matches, so I can't speak for the sports intensity side of it, but I liked the growing relationships in it too. Ufuri definitely has more, like some people consider it shonen-ai, because the relationship between the two main characters, there's a lot of blushing that happens between the two of them. Mm-hmm. So it's pretty implied that those two are either in a relationship. I can't remember. I'm trying to remember if they end up officially or not. But they do the relationship really well, whether it's romantic or not. It's done very well.
Cool shit. All right, I have my recommendation.
Do it.
Since we're doing sports, how about Initial D?
Oh,
yeah. Initial D, for those that may be unfamiliar, is about it's a racing anime about drifting. Some people don't consider like driving a sport. I don't know why, because there is a lot of precise movements and it's very intense, like as a sport. But
it's like the golf argument where people are like, golf's not a real sport. It's a game. And I'm like, I don't know. It's weird. I found like a huge argument between like people who try to identify what sports are.
Yeah, there's some people that feel like, oh, you need to be running for it to be a sport, and that's kind of ridiculous. Mm-hmm. But yeah, Initial D is a lot of fun, and the soundtrack. So like, Eurobeat, you can't go wrong with it.
I thought that was Erin. I thought she was just really excited about Initial D and the soundtrack, and I'm like, all right, like, oh yeah.
I mean, Ella's giving us a little preview.
Elle loves Initial D, guys.
Oh my god!
And that's my recommendation. It's really good. You guys should check it out.
You may have heard of Initial D from the memes, but it's pretty fucking good, actually.
The memes.
The memes. You may know this one from the memes. The retro recommendation is going to be an obvious one. Bamboo Blade. You should go watch Bamboo Blade. It's about kendo sports and a team. The coach is like making a bet that he can win a tournament or win against this other school. So he puts together a ragtag group of kendo players that may or may not be good at kendo, but they get good at kendo. There's plenty of waifus and a stereotypical American girl that transfers in and beats people's ass, who is played by the girl who plays Pansy from Pansy and Stocking. I don't know her name. I'm just, at this point, just watch Bamboo Blade.
Yeah, watch it dubbed.
Watch it dubbed.
It's a lot of fun.
It's a fun one. It's a really fun anime. Like Lou said, it's a lot more comedy, but it still hits that sports level. And the small girl is the best girl, and she deserves the world.
I mean, I'm gonna disagree.
Ooh.
I prefer.
I swear to God, I've seen a blonde bitch. I swear to God.
No, not the blonde bitch.
She's the worst girl, which is the main girl.
Yeah, definitely.
The captain's the worst girl.
the
Oh,
best girl
no,
is
I
the
know.
other girl with the boyfriend.
Yes, the one has the multiple personality.
Yeah, the psychotic bitch. You know,
God,
you gotta love,
she's so-
you gotta love crazy, dude.
Fuck you! Now that you say that, you're right. My mind's like having a battle of who is better because I do remember enjoying her thoroughly through that show.
Yeah. Also, you know, unlike the one that you said, she doesn't look like she's like 5.
Sir, please stop. Time out.
All right, I think it's time for us to move on to our legacy segment, the Waifu Hall of Fame. So, for those that may be new to the show, the Waifu Hall of Fame is some time that we set aside every episode to honor the underappreciated waifus that kind of get overlooked. So, I would like to go first, if you guys don't mind.
Mm-hmm.
And the waifu I'm going to nominate is the razor used in any swimming related anime. Shout out to the razor, top tier waifu, making sure that all the swimmers are at peak condition, swimming quickly, like facilitating aerodynamics. Definitely a top tier waifu. You know, this podcast is sponsored by Mock Razors or Dollar Shave Club, actually.
Dollar
That's what
Shave
we're-
Club, please.
Yeah,
Sponsor us.
please sponsor us. Give us money. We'll show your product. 10 out of 10.
Aaron,
Would anyone like to go next?
I nominate Aaron.
I can go.
Go for it.
My waifu is the balls of sports anime. Just all the balls,
Interesting. All of them? Okay.
all of them. Because
Really, like we wouldn't have they wouldn't be around.
right?
Like the sports wouldn't be around. These animes wouldn't be around without the balls.
Yeah, you need the balls.
Shout out to the second best girl or the childhood friend, the ball bags,
The ball bags. The forgotten balls.
the forgotten balls.
Forgotten balls.
That's a fun word to say, forgotten balls.
It's like cotton balls,
Cotton balls.
but not. So yeah, that's my
Dakota?
top 2 waifu.
Cotton balls
Top
is a great
two.
example of something I like to say, but wouldn't like to be called.
Yes.
Hey, what's up? It's my buddy Cotton Balls.
What's up, cotton balls?
Yeah, not that good actually. I'm tired. I'm like really loopy. I don't know. My waifu is going to be the band Back On, who wrote the song Chain, which is the opening for Air Gear, a sports anime, I believe. Is Air Gear a sports anime?
Yes.
Yeah.
All right.
It's a rollerblading anime, and it's
it
really
is.
good.
And it has titties.
Hell yeah.
And they wrote the song Chain, which is one of the best openings of that time. May their guitar strums string me to break my chain away. I'm tired.
I like it, cotton balls.
Cotton Ball. Shout out to Dimitri Martin, who wrote that joke that I stole it.
Snagged it.
I'm gonna have Dimitri Martin giving us a cease and desist now,
Oh no.
or copyright. Is it? Can you cease and desist jokes? Or
I
just-
mean, I don't know, man. Carlos Mencia does it all the time where he steals the jokes. So,
Ah! That's funny.
or and so does Dane Cook. There we go.
Yeah.
I'm just
Yeah.
calling
Isn't
everyone out.
Dimitri Martin dead?
No, I don't.
I hope not.
Who am I
hope not.
thinking of?
That's like my favorite funny ass.
Who am I thinking of? Who's the comedian?
That's dead.
Well, I mean, there are a lot of dead comedians.
I know. That's
maybe
why
you're
I
thinking-
stopped, because I was like, there's a lot that are dead.
Maybe you're thinking of.
No, he's still alive.
I forget his name. The one that says escalators never break; they only become stairs. I
Yeah.
forget his name.
Mitch.
Mitch Hedberg. There we
There
go.
you go. Okay.
We nailed it. Yeah, no, he's
Did
dead.
it.
Rest in peace.
R.I.P.
Damn, I gotta listen to his stuff now.
He's great.
All right, so that's it for this episode of the Anime Hour. Thank you for joining us, Aaron. It has been a pleasure having you.
Thank you for having me. It was so fun.
Yeah, you got to come back again.
Yes, please.
So my name has been Lou, and it continues to be Lou, and it'll always be Lou. My YouTube channel is Lou Talks Anime, and my Twitter is @Lou Talks Anime. I'm pretty active on Twitter, not so much on the YouTube thing. But whatever, it's fine. I'm keeping this channel going, so that's the thing that I'm doing. And with me today was Dakota from Dakota Broskie TV.
Hey guys, it's Dakota Broskie from Dakota Broskie AnimeTV. I do anime videos and I say things and they sound good about anime. With us today was the HappiLeeErin.
Yeah. I'm HappiLeeErin. I have a YouTube channel. It's under the same name. It's spelled HappiLeeErin. Sorry if you can hear.
E-R-I-M.
E-R-I-M. HappiLeeErin. Excuse me for the baby whining in the background. But yeah, I have a YouTube channel. I haven't been super active on there, but I do have a bunch of old reviews, first impressions. All of Manga Pod is on there, which I host with Lou and Dodger, and Dakota's been on there quite a few times. And he's always an awesome guest. But yeah, I'm much more active on Twitter. I'm in the process of self-publishing a book, so that's kind of been... You're okay. You're okay, Elle. I promise.
Doesn't want the podcast to end.
He's like, Mom! So yeah, that's me. Come follow me on all of the stuff if you wanna. I would love to talk to you.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Do you need me to do that again?
No, we're good.
No,
We're
you're good. Okay.
Yeah.
Adds to the realism of the podcast.
It's authentic.
Yes. I mean, his nickname is Elle, so it's somewhat related.
Yeah. There we
Death
go.
Note, that sports anime, greatest sports anime of all
It
time.
is. It is like that scene where they're playing the sports. That's a good time.
That's true. That
They-
is.
oh
in
my
there.
god, they did play tennis.
That's such a
And
good
they're
scene.
both really good.
There
for
you go.
some whatever
Your child
reason.
is destined for sports anime. You know what sport to make him do.
Yeah, you're gonna
Go
play
ahead and hand him a
tennis.
tennis racket. Get
He's
that
like-
scholarship, kid.
Prince, be the prince.
Yo, can that be like
Maradona.
can that be like a thing for sports anime? Like, Kuroko, no basket spin-off. Aomi didn't get the scholarship. Got
He ends
kicked
up
out
work-
for being a dick.
He ends up working at McDonald's, but the M is upside down because it's anime, and that's what they do. Those
Goes-
are McDonald's.
He goes to the back streets and hustles for money playing basketball.
Oh my, it's going dark. I'm
That's
sure there's a
intense.
fanfic like that.
Kuroko got the scholarship.
All right, guys, that's it for us. Hope you have a wonderful day. Goodbye.
Kill it. Kill it.
Mwah.
Bye, you beautiful bastard.
Maradona.